I really look forward to my 6th interview in total in the area of IT. And on this episode, I'm just going to take apart the areas of what happened during my interview, actually. I'll be really careful with it. But there's no surprise to me how globally we are in such a state in the area of security and IT systems. And I just wanted to say, just before we started, that there's a wonderful quote on the Hackers YouTube video. If you go to YouTube and put in Hackers, basically the concentration is on convenience rather than security. And it's the convenience that has really caused us a lot of problems. So welcome back to the podcast, and I hope you enjoy the episode. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. It's Thursday afternoon, it's really hot, it's probably touching about 35 degrees outside. I am inside in my lab, and thank you for listening, thank you for checking back in. Just really want to open up the area of my last interview, to be honest, and just going to really take apart, just see between the lines what hasn't been working at all, and just explain them to you all today, really. Okay, so you know that I'm in the area of cybersecurity, and this week and the next couple of weeks I'll be learning the new application called Splunk, which is going to be fantastic, and just doing some logs data there as well. And that's just really having moved on from Atomic Red Team installation, and I'm fluent, of course, with Sysmon, Wazoo, PowerShell, etc. So doing a good job, and of course I was really looking forward to the latest interview. Now, this was IT systems, wasn't SOC at all, and from the outset there's no way ever I'm going to apply for another IT systems job again. So let's kick it off, shall we? So I found this job online, fairly locally. Communications, I thought, great, excellent. Looked at the job advert and thought, yeah, that's for me, that's brilliant. We can start there. They can definitely, I'm sure they'd definitely really be quite happy with someone with a good cybersecurity background. And it was for systems, so I applied online, and it didn't go through on the website, which was the first red flag for me. So I sent an internal an email to them off my own back after I found the email, and got an interview that way. So first red flag: if you're a communications company, make sure your bloody website works properly. That really wasn't a good signal to start with. Anyway, so I get asked to go for an interview. Bear in mind I'm in Germany, and interview was set, turn up, walk in. All I hear to start with are the other employees laughing about the fact that I'm English. You got the friendly hellos and stuff, but kind of the tittering in the background and sniggering that I'm English. And I heard that for about 20 minutes through an open door, and I thought, bloody hell, what's going on here? So I sat down, and the boss comes in, and he just goes off and talking about wars in the world, and the reduction of jobs in technology. And I thought, whoa, this is different. And in a nutshell, what he said was that he's been building a team for IT, but none of them are employed yet. And he said, what do you know? What are you good at? And I said, well, I started with Python on the 4th of November, and just been learning cybersecurity for the last 7 months been doing brute force attacks, and Sysmon, I'm fluent with Linux, I'm fluent with Windows as well. Of course I am. I've been running brute force attacks. And you know what? That was where the difference resided, really. The guy said, "Why do you want to work for us?" I said, because I've got the English and German. And he quickly dissipated the fact that English and German isn't that important, even though they said it on the job description. Because there's a local country actually that they want IT people to work for and to speak English, and he actually said that this local country just doesn't speak English anyway, which I didn't know what he's on about. But the really weird thing was that it was going downhill from his. I was sitting across from him, and I could just see it going downhill on his side, if that makes sense. 1 minute he'd say, if I had someone in charge of the whole team, I'd employ you straight away. And then he said, I'm not going to employ you because, not because of your skills, it's just I don't know where to put you yet. And I thought to myself, well, shouldn't you have worked that out before you kind of asked me for an interview in 30-degree heat? Anyway, I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that when people like myself go for cybersecurity we've got a heavy cybersecurity background. I mean, for me, that's all I've got, right? So we go into an interview, and I don't know. Obviously, we're polite when we go in. I got a little bit annoyed, actually, that, the interviewer said that, I came over as very helpful and very courteous. And that was really just kind of thorn in the side, I was just wondering why that ever was brought up, to be honest. And then there was a lot of talk about me doing certifications here in Germany. A great deal. Probably about half of the interview was about me concentrating on certifications. Microsoft 365, do that. Join Microsoft. Get all the certifications you can for free. And I thought to myself, I think this guy's missing a couple of cans from his six-pack, And then he changed into English and started to speak English without any warning. So I switched up to English as well for a few minutes. I think it was just to bolster his pride a little bit. His English wasn't that good, to be honest. I was thinking, what on earth is this? When he's saying, for this job you don't need Python. For this job you don't really need the security stuff. And I said to him, well, you asked me what I've done, and I've just told you. Anyway, we turned back to German, and if you're aware of German at all, there is the way that we use Sie, which is the formal, and the Du, which is informal. So I went into German saying Du, and then I stopped myself and said, I'm really sorry. This is an interview, I'm really sorry I have to use the word Sie for formal. And he said, yeah, but, in English, you don't have the Sie. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, really, what is going on? I'm not going to say do to you because I don't even know you. And this is a formal IT interview. Give me a break. I didn't say that to him. But I said, I'm just going to use Ihnen. I'm just going to use Sie. So I did that. And from my side, he was running downhill. The more he said, the more it was getting worse for me. And there was a point where he said, obviously he's very happy with his communication company, and they work with a lot of hospitals. And I said to him, you are aware that there are a lot of malware attacks within hospitals, don't you? And you know what? He skimmed over that. And I just reiterated it again. I said, from my cybersecurity perspective, you really should pay attention to those cybersecurity attacks on the hospitals from a communications point of view. And that flew over his head as well. And, I didn't get the job. He was so heavy on me getting certified. I said, I'm sorry, but this is my 6th interview. I started having interviews for cybersecurity after 3.5 months of learning. They're not relevant. What's relevant is the fact that I've got my own lab at home and I can prove the results that I've got. That went over his head as well. Anything else? I didn't get the job. And you know what? I was pleased I didn't. And I walked out of there and I thought to myself, oh my goodness, I'm never applying for an IT systems job again. But you give it a chance, don't you? And, just for those aforementioned reasons, really. We build for comfort, not for security. It just proved to me that there's so many holes in that company. Number one, the website didn't work when I tried to apply for the job. That's a big red flag because it's a communications company. It's like phoning up Vodafone and no one's on the telephone, right? It's kind of that important. And it really was just a waste of time. And the journey down there, and I prepped 4.5 hours for this as well. It's my opinion, but it seems like there is this them and us, IT systems and cybersecurity. I've had 2 interviews from 6, for IT systems, and again the IT systems was the same thing. I answered all the questions on the other one was different. I answered all the questions. They were saying, you've got this situation, here's the example, can you answer it? And I answered it down to the T, coming from a cybersecurity point of view. For this recent interview, the team hadn't even been organised yet, with the assumption that I needed to have my hand held. No, I think that's what people miss with cybersecurity. You don't need to hand up. We don't need our hands held. Cybersecurity, for Christ's sake, we're doing brute force attacks. And I think the friendly demeanour and everything just puts people off. It just seems like I'm a pushover. And I think maybe I speak for a lot more people in the area of cybersecurity. I mean, I'm white hat, will always be white hat. I can definitely understand why, people are black hat. Because it doesn't take much to push people into the black hat area. I won't be black hat, I'll be white hat, it's all good. And I certainly won't be grey hat either, But it was just, at the end of the day, it was just no consideration from my interviewer to me, me sitting at that interview that day. Yes, of course, they're proud of their businesses and everything else, but I'm sorry, if you don't invite all different types of people to the party, it's not going to be a good one. Really. So, disappointed. And the last problematic area is that, of course, when you're told in the interview that, you're not going to get the job, that's all well and fine. That's okay. but I never got a confirmation email either. And, you know, their website didn't work to start with. The interview was rubbish because they didn't have a clue about his team. Didn't even have a clue about the IT area, which is really weird. And, not having the confirmation, not having, an email that I didn't get the job. There was no tying up of loose ends. It was all just loose ends all over the place. So that's what I want to share with you today. Been working hard on my lab. Still looking for an SOC Tier 1 job, which is going to be brilliant. And, I've got more. If you're building your lab, this is where I want to come into now. If you decided what you wanted to do in the area of cybersecurity, stick to it. I was also at a swimming pool as well, and, a lady was talking to me, and she was really enforcing the fact that I get certifications for this cybersecurity as well. I mean, the thing is, don't listen to the people that are ill-informed, really. It's just annoying. It's just really, really annoying, especially when I stand there and say, actually, you don't need any certifications, because SOC Tier 1 junior role, you need to run lab tests, documentation, and in doing so, and doing that 3,000 times that I did for Atomic Red Team over 8 weeks, I think. Was it 8 weeks? How long did I take? I can't remember now. It's quite a long time. Wasn't 8 weeks, I don't think, but it's a bloody long time. 3,000 mistakes before I got it right. 9 days? It's hot today, so please excuse me. But, I stuck with it. And we've got, staying power, really, when it comes down to cybersecurity. And cybersecurity is a new area, The thing is, we're lean, mean machines. I mean that in the most lightest way. Because whether they want to see it or not, but there are some really bad attacks going on all the time. 3.1 million attacks every single minute globally. Yeah, so I'm going to start with Splunk next. I'm going to get Atomic Red Team probably tonight linked up to Wazoo, just connected with that. Run some tests, do some documentation. It's, do the seam the proper way, I would say, and go from there. But IT systems, no thanks. No thanks. I just don't feel I'm treated properly, Odd, really. Odd. But there we go. I think that's where the gaps lie, in my opinion, just because people are too confident. And too much confidence is a real problem, and that's why we have so many cybersecurity issues in the world. Thank you for listening, and I'll get back to you all very soon.